Now, here's the hosts of Top Story, Kelly Glass and Jill Steen.
You'll catch on in a flash.
Well, it's just not Halloween
Then you can
without the Monster Mash. Welcome to Top Story on this Halloween day. 7360300 is always the number to call. I don't know, should we do this too?
$100 smoking in my bed.
Let's just play music, shall we?
I know. Kelly wants to just play music the entire
Ladies and gentlemen,
show.
2 hours of music today.
Kelly is a horse to the barn.
It's finally Friday, I'm free again. I got my motor running for a wild weekend. It's finally Friday, I'm out of control. Forget the working blues and let the good times roll.
Alrighty then. Let's see what else we got.
No,
that we
that's
can,
it. Come on,
let's see.
Kelly.
How about
Stop.
this? Oh, okay.
We have a lot. Come on, Kelly. What's the matter? See,
Okay, sorry.
you're annoying. Why are you doing that?
Oh, it's just been
It's Friday,
been
so
a tough
Kelly's having a
morning.
bad morning, so he just wants to play music the entire show. Well, you
I'm
can't, young man.
Chasing viruses this morning on computers, so you know.
Which means he's going to take it out on me. Which, when you're not happy, then no one's happy.
One of our computers has Ebola here,
I
so
know,
now
right?
we're all going to have to be quarantined, I guess.
For 21 days with you, I would hope I got Ebola.
Oh my, yeah, thanks. Rather have a root canal. Huh?
Well, good morning, everyone.
Yes.
It's Jill and
Kelly, and we are here until I don't know, maybe 10 o'clock this morning.
Oh, stop.
Coming up at 8:20, we have the CSI update, and coming up at 8:40, we have Andrew Weeks.
That's right.
Andrew has written several scary books, actually,
Whoa.
of hauntings and ghost chasing type stuff.
Yeah, interesting.
And he says several places in the Magic Valley are haunted. He's written a book about it. He's going to talk about it at 8:40.
I think our studio is one of them, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
it's
Things come out of our mouths
Haunted
that
with
we're...
liberals. Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
stop.
this is a scary place.
Oh,
I'll tell you.
please.
Then at 9 o'clock,
We have Steve
Steve
Hartgen.
Steve Hartgen. That's right.
Are
My
you
mind
okay?
went blank for a minute. Steve Hartgen will be here with us. So
Well, I have to give 2 shout-outs today.
okay.
First of all, to my friend Dorothy, who's visiting from, I used to work with her at Reebok, and she now divides her time between Arizona and Oregon. So we see her on the way up and the way back. So she stopped by yesterday.
Cool.
She's at my house listening. So hi, Dorothy.
Hi, Dorothy.
Hi, Dorothy. And then the other one is Rex from the Boy Scouts. When I got home to my house yesterday, there was a business card in my door with some bags on
Some
my
bags?
doorknob. Yeah.
I told him just to leave a case. of
Yeah.
them.
And with a little note that thank you for my contribution, and if they don't pick up my bags on Saturday, that I should call Rex and he'll come pick them up for me. So I won't be here Monday saying I still have cans on my front porch.
All right. Very
So anyway,
cool.
thanks,
now
Rex.
That's service.
I called him and thanked him. I left a message for him.
that's
But
cool.
anyway, thanks, Rex and the Boy Scouts. And of course, I'm donating. So I already
course
have
you
some
are.
stuff. Of course I do. So I have stuff in the bag. so.
You're very philanthropic.
I
Is
am.
that the word for that?
I
Philanthropic.
That's why I do Rotary. That's why I do a lot of things. I think you have to help
That's a
someone.
4-syllable word that I'm not used to using many
No,
over
you're
1 or 2
not,
syllables.
Kelly.
So when I
No,
get up
you're
to 4
not.
syllables,
That's right. I think we all should try to help others.
absolutely. And it's Halloween.
I know.
Trick or treat on Bishop Street's going on this afternoon, 3:30 till 6 in the Fred Meyer parking lot.
It should be fun.
So it will be fun.
You know,
yeah.
the best part, and, I'm not really, the candy part bothers me, I have to say, because my stand on everything. It just
yes.
does fine. But I do love to see the little munchkins dressing up. And when I would trick or treat with my nieces and nephew back in Boston, I was the aunt that had to dress up. My sister and her husband, they never dressed up. They're the parents. But somehow every year I would have to dress up, which I loved. And I'd love to scare them, and we'd all go trick or treating. And I still send them treats to this day, even though they're in their 20s. And they still say those are some of the best memories of their life. And you know what? That's the part I enjoy. I love seeing the kids dress up, and it's a good time for your family. And
Sure.
why not?
Absolutely.
So-
Absolutely. In fact, we have the story, and it's a short story, on the history of Halloween.
Ooh.
And I'll probably use that just before Andrew comes on. He from 8:30 to 8:40 because he comes in at 8:40.
No, we
So
have
we'll talk about
CSI.
8:20.
8:20,
Jill.
Why don't we move CSI to 8:30 and then we'll just do it
I
at
don't
8:20?
know. I guess we can do that.
Why don't we do that? Okay.
All right, we'll do that today.
Yeah, I'm
All
like,
right.
wait, I thought we're booked.
We'll make an executive decision.
It's really hard to do that, isn't it? We'll just lock the
Yeah.
studio door.
There
I
you
wish we
go.
had a lock on
There
the door.
you go. We also have a list of the 10 most popular chocolates.
That's
Did
right.
you know that Halloween is the biggest day for chocolates? The biggest holiday for chocolate?
Sure. Why?
Yeah.
Which one would you think would be Valentine's Day?
I thought Valentine's
No.
Day was.
Not because everyone gets chocolate, but you're passing out masses of chocolate to the neighborhood kids and this.
Yeah, I
and
know,
that,
but
and-
I still thought that Valentine's Day was. But
no.
apparently, that's one of my wrongs this month.
So we'll have to figure out what your favorite candy is.
Candy.
I know. I was going to say you can't just narrow them. You love them all.
Actually, if I were to have to choose a favorite, I would probably choose the Hershey bar.
Really, just
Hershey
plain
chocolate bar.
chocolate.
Yes,
Do you just
indeed.
like vanilla too?
Vanilla's okay.
Ice cream.
but I like vanilla ice cream. I like chocolate syrup with a little ice cream on it.
Wow.
So there
You're
you
just
go.
living on the edge there, Cal.
I am. I'll tell you what.
Okay, big guy. Let's do news.
We do have some news this morning. Eric Frayne, the suspected killer of one Pennsylvania trooper and wounding another in a September ambush, was captured yesterday after 48 days on the run.
Wow.
Now he will face justice, according to Pennsylvania Governor Tom Corbett. The local district attorney immediately said he would charge Frayne with murder and would seek the death penalty. When they captured the guy, they used the handcuffs of the slain officer to restrain him and the patrol car of the slain officer.
Can you imagine the 48 days on the run?
Yeah,
Wow.
and they said he was in pretty good health. They didn't figure he'd be in that good of health, but he was shacked up at an old airport that was at some sort of a resort that closed up in 1998.
Did it have any water?
So-
Can you imagine not showering for 48 days or brushing your teeth for 48 days?
I think he
You
was
know
kind of
what?
a survivalist, so I don't.
I
know
think
if it
so, but
bothered
I'm
him.
glad they got him. Those people were
Yeah.
basically living in fear, living in their homes,
Yeah.
afraid to go out. You know what? Awful what he did,
Well, and then
I'm
we
glad
had
he's going to pay.
We had the story earlier of a poor guy who looked like him that lived in the same area.
Oh, no.
He had run on hard economic times, so he had to walk to his job every day at night through that same area.
No.
He said he had been stopped and roughed up and
Oh, no.
by police who thought he was Frayne. So now that guy can
Go to
at
work in
least-
peace.
Yeah, go to work in peace now. So
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Nightmare.
So there you go. Word of advice to Instagram users: don't post selfies with your paychecks.
Are we going to have to do one of these Instagram stupidity things every day or selfie stupidity things every day? You're doing selfies with bears. Now you're posting your paycheck. And because why, Kelly? Let us know what the problem is with this.
I don't know. Yeah.
They are taking their routing information.
Federal prosecutors in Minnesota announced charges against 28 people accused of participating in a conspiracy to cash counterfeit checks with bank details gleaned from sources including Instagram photos. Law enforcement officials said the group obtained account numbers and bank routing information from victims by searching for Instagram photos with the hashtag #MyFirstPaycheck. So there you go, folks. You just can't be too careful anymore. Don't put anything
But why?
out
Why
there.
do you even do that?
I
My
don't
first paycheck. My gosh, do you have to show everything? Everything.
7360300. Top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kelly and Jill.
Hey.
Hi, good morning.
Hey, you know that one with the guy they just captured? I was watching that this morning. It was hilarious how they said the guy was in good shape, didn't need any medical attention, but it sure looked like he had about 5 rounds with Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, I noticed in the picture it looked like he had a cut on his nose there. What happened? Do they know?
On his nose, over his eye, and
Yeah.
everything else.
I imagine he was
And
pretty
they look
tough.
pretty fresh.
Yeah, I'm sure. But he didn't need medical
Yeah.
attention. Don't you want to?
I think he was a little rough, and we had tendered him up a little bit.
I wouldn't be surprised. And you know what? Who can blame him? I don't know. I'm not in favor of police brutality, but sometimes, you just have to get a little rough with a prisoner when they won't listen.
Well, I'm sure he
So
was
there you
hard.
go.
I'm sure he was hard to capture. So, 48 days on the run. I'm sure getting him out of his little.
He was surprised, too. They
Was
said
he?
when he was out in the middle of this little field, and he didn't even have a gun.
Oh no!
And they surprised him, and
Aw.
he acted surprised, and he got on his knees, put his hands behind his head, and that was it.
And then they punched him several times.
I'm sure it was deserved.
I'm
sure they had to
sure.
get his attention.
I'm sure.
We'll be right back on Top Story. 7360300 is always the number to call here this morning on Top Story. And we have Doug Maughan coming up soon with the CSI update. Before we get to that, though, just wanted to tell you that the folks at Canyon Pawn want you to stop by. Twin Falls' newest pawn shop has camping supplies and woodworking and fishing poles and tools and guns. And just stop and think for a minute. What have you seen before in a pawn shop? Just about anything.
I never had. That's
got.
why I went there.
That's what they've got at Canyon Pawn. Just about anything. So stop by. Nice, new, clean store. It's right there across from Will's Toyota on Shoshone Street and 3rd Avenue South. And they would love for you to stop by and say hi. They'll give you the red carpet treatment. Mm-hmm. Canyon Pawn at 933-2600. They're also online at canyonpawn.com. Good morning, Doug Maughan.
Good morning, Kelly Class. How are you?
We haven't had you on the show
Nice
much.
to be here,
Nice
Jill.
seeing you, Doug. Always fun.
Have to have you back every once in a while, just so you won't lose your radio and TV touch.
I enjoy it. Yes,
And he
I've always
doesn't.
enjoyed that.
No, he
No
doesn't.
one has
does
a
he?
great voice. You two have the best voices in the business, honestly.
you are too
no,
kind.
it's true,
Thank you.
though. It's true. It's great.
Mine's a little better, but go ahead, Doug. What do you got for us?
Okay, do I have to separate you two? Get back.
Kelly is in high demand now.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
So what's going on at CSI?
Well, we've had the corn maze open all month, and tonight it wraps up with a special Fright Night. How lucky were we, after all, to have Halloween on a Friday night with good weather?
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
And the police
well,
are thrilled.
Don't say that too loudly.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right. We
I
might
know.
jinx
Still
it.
plenty of time between now and tonight. so-
Doug, have you done the corn maze?
I haven't, actually.
Have you ever done the corn maze?
No, I haven't.
What?
Because I'm afraid
True
I would
confession.
get totally disoriented.
I know. I haven't done it
But
either.
you're always hiking up in the mountains.
Oh,
and
I
you're
like
like
that.
disoriented. Of course,
Yes.
you're up where you can see stuff.
That's right. I'm always looking for the high points.
Yeah, right.
Did Benito tell you about us going up to Cache Peak this past fall?
He did, yes. Said he
Wow.
had a good time.
Excellent trip.
Yeah, very nice.
Okay, great. So how much does it cost for the corn maze?
The corn maze tonight is $5 per person because during Fright Night there's going to be all kinds of things jumping out at
Oh,
you.
no.
And,
No, I hate that.
And actually, it would be
Okay,
kind
I'm
of
sorry.
fun.
I'd be screaming at
so
the
if
top
you
of
want
my
a
lungs.
frightening experience, tonight
No.
is it.
Okay.
And they'll still have the hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff at the maze entrance. That would be probably where I would linger and just keep eating.
So you have to pay extra to get scared more, right?
Right. Anyway, so
We
that'll
are-
wrap up
And the
tonight.
money
We're
goes
such-
where, Doug? Because it does go for a good cause.
It actually all goes for the clubs that have been staffing that corn maze. Horticulture Club planted and organized the maze, but they've got other clubs, equine, law enforcement, one of the tech, I think like diesel technology. I can't remember just offhand, but there have been like 5 clubs that have been keeping
Okay,
that
great.
open.
Well, way to make money for yourselves.
Well, we
Okay.
better move along because we're going to run
Run
out
out of time.
Yeah, lots of stuff.
What do you got next?
Well, we've got basketball and volleyball, and tonight is the opener for the men's basketball team in the HILEX Poly Invitational. They're going to have games at 7:30 tonight and tomorrow night. Now, to be quite honest, I have not heard of Salish Kootenai, but anyway, that's who they're playing tonight. And then tomorrow night is Impact Academy, and that's going to be the kickoff for the men's basketball team. You should come and see why they're ranked number 5 in the nation in preseason right now.
Can I ask, because I might have missed this moment, who's the basketball coach?
Jared Fay. He was at North Idaho College for years.
When did they get him?
We got him last spring.
Last spring. Okay.
Yeah. And Jared's been working very hard with the team. So it's going to be a good chance to see how the team and the coach are doing.
Yes.
And then tomorrow at 1 o'clock, the number 4 ranked CSI volleyball team will have their final regular season home match, and that'll be against North Idaho College. So they're going to be headed into tournaments And come wish them well, see them off, give them a cheer.
Cool.
Oh, right.
Very nice.
You are so good.
That's
Anyway.
what's happening this weekend. Just a shout out to what's happening next weekend. The Big Harvest Time Festival holds its 36th annual event Friday through Sunday.
And it just seems like yesterday, doesn't it, Doug?
I know.
36th annual. Wow, what's going to be happening there? We still have some time. Keep talking, Doug.
All kinds of holiday decorations, home decor, crafts, candy, toys, all kinds of great things.
It's kind of the first Christmas craft
It is.
fair. Yeah.
You did it a few years ago. I talked you into it with your
yeah.
toy trucks.
Yeah.
3 days. Is it 9 to 8?
Yeah,
Friday,
9.
Saturday, and 10 to 4 Sunday?
That's right.
What's the fee?
The admission is going to be $3 a person, or you can get in all 3 days for $7. There will be raffle prizes every 20 minutes.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's a fun time. I kind of
I like to do that.
I like to hang around where the hosters are serving Navajo tacos and scones.
The theme here is you just like to hang around the food stations, right? Is that
You know,
it?
when you're trying not to eat, all you think about
It's true.
is food.
I know.
right.
And what about the CSI Rad Tech program?
Oh, that's they're going to do a 5K rad run 1 week from tomorrow. And they're also going to be celebrating the discovery of X-rays. The father of radiography, Röntgen himself,
Wow.
Wow.
actually discovered X-rays on November 8th, 1895, and so they're going to hold their rad run on Saturday the 8th, and they're also going to be holding an open house next Friday. So if you'd like to find out more about either of those, call the Health Science Building at 732-6701.
Very cool.
Well, thank you,
Thanks,
Doug.
Doug.
Sounds
We're
like
out
a
of
lot of
time.
fun.
All right. Hey,
Well,
thanks for having me.
You bet. Nice to have you back. And coming up, what do we got coming up? The history of Halloween. And we're back. 7360300 is the number to call. You know, it's also Open Mind Friday here for a bit. So
Yeah, we have a little
Yeah.
time before, a little after, Steve. So
we're going to talk about scary stories here in the Magic Valley shortly with Andrew Weeks, author Andrew Weeks.
that's right.
I do want to mention, though, that the folks at Stanley and Company want you to know they have the Low and Honey Loader, and it loads all types of manure from liquid to frozen and dry. And with winter coming up and lots of precipitation, it could become an issue. So before it becomes an issue, why not just go ahead and take care of it now and call Pat Hartzell and say, hey, I want to see one of these Low and Honey Loaders in action. And he'll say, okay, I'll get right back to you, and he'll set it up, and then you'll know where to be and what time. And it all works like that. And his number is 280-1167. 280-1167 is the number for Pat Hartzell of Stanley and Company. Got the history of Halloween coming up, but first we got a call. Well, I guess we don't. Okay, so we'll move right on in to the
It's a
history.
prank call.
Yeah, a prank call.
On Halloween.
the
How
history.
original.
This is somewhat short. I could have printed out a whole long page after page deal on Halloween, but this one just kind of puts it in a nutshell.
Well, tell us,
So
Kelly.
I thought, why bore everyone with all the other stuff when I can just do it?
Bore him
you know,
shortly.
Yeah, bore them quicker. Okay, straddling the line between fall and winter, plenty and paucity, life and death, Halloween is a time of celebration and superstition. It is thought to have originated with the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, when people would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off roaming ghosts. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III designated November 1 as a time to honor all saints and martyrs. The holiday, All Saints' Day, incorporated some of the traditions of Samhain. The evening before was known as All Hallows' Eve, and later, Halloween. Over time, Halloween evolved into a secular, community-based event characterized by child-friendly activities such as trick-or-treating. In a number of countries around the world, as the days grow shorter and the nights grow colder, people continue to usher in the winter season with gatherings, costumes, and sweet treats.
And there you go. That's it.
And
That was
that's
Halloween.
it. That's the history of Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Yeah. So there you go.
So there. How many people? That was quite short and quite, coming from the East, Salem, Massachusetts is out there.
Oh,
My
yes.
sister lives in Marblehead, which is on the coast, and right next door is Salem, the Salem witch trials. And starting in October 1st, every day in October is called Haunted Happenings. So from October 1st, so today I'm sure is insane in Salem because you find every crazy person ever. I saw someone who had actual real live fangs in his teeth, walking around. There are witches. There are crazy people. Everyone gathers in Salem, and it's actually a lot of fun. It'll scare you to death, but they have these great museums about the witch trials, and very interesting. There's so much history back there that you can't walk anywhere. It's just filled with history.
Have you been to any of the museums?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, they
What
were
do they
great.
have?
One is a 3D museum, the Salem Witch Museum. And they do the whole thing in 3D as what happened with the trials and how they have these, animated characters and this great voice, even I think could be better than yours.
Oh, I find that hard
it's
to
true.
believe.
It's true. And they go through the story of it all. I've been there several times because when people come to visit, of course, you want to take them to things like that. And
Absolutely.
so it's always so much fun. And when you talk about Halloween, Halloween basically it's in Salem, Massachusetts. Let me tell you, it's crazy, but it's a lot of fun. And of course, there's always psychics, and I think Laura Abbott is the witch, the official witch of Salem, Mass, and so she is there, and I think she does readings or something. What she does as a witch, but it's pretty fun and crazy, and it's a great place. If anyone goes back out east, you have to go. If you go to Boston, just go north to Salem, Massachusetts, and see it. And Marblehead's beautiful, birthplace of the Navy. Beautiful.
Wow.
So much history out there. You got to go, Cal.
Maybe one of these days.
Well, now that you're going to be retiring December 31st, maybe you should go to Boston in the spring.
Oh, actually, I would really like that. I know my wife would love that.
I know. You have to. You would love the history.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I think it would
Halloween
be
is
great.
always fun, and that's why I always trick-or-treated with my nieces and nephew and had a great time.
I've been out east twice. I went to North Carolina and once to Washington, D.C. So I might have to go out again to go to Boston.
Northeast. Go to the Northeast.
Northeast. Well, that's out east. Anything east of the eastern Idaho border is out east.
Yeah,
I told you that.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Cross the border. Go somewhere, Kelly.
We're gonna hear some scary stories of the Magic Valley coming up next with author Andrew Weeks here on Top Story.
Thank you, Andrew.
7360300, the number to call here on Top Story. Welcome back. We want to welcome Mr. Andrew Weeks, author Andrew Weeks, and Andrew also works for us here at Town Square Media in the sales department. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Always good to have you back.
Yeah,
Always a
because we had
pleasure.
you weeks ago because you had a book signing at Barnes & Noble. And
I
I guess
did.
did fairly well there, I guess. Huh?
Yeah. A lot of people came in asking for the book, and I met several people while there, so I had a fun time.
Good. So they're still available at Barnes & Noble, right? So
I hope they got some more in.
I know that's good. You sold out. They'll order more, of course.
So tell us about your books.
Okay, sure. I have Haunted Idaho, Ghosts and Strange Phenomena of the Gem State. I have a Magic Valley book, Ghosts of Idaho's Magic Valley. And I have two other books, Haunted Utah and Haunted Oregon. The Oregon book just came out this summer.
Wow.
We got a lot of haunted stuff, right?
So you have Haunted Idaho and Haunted Magic Valley. So apparently there's enough haunted stuff in Magic Valley to warrant its own book.
That's right, and probably a second volume, because after I wrote the book, I kept hearing stories kept coming in. I'm like, dang, I wish I had a little bit more time on the deadline.
Yeah. Are there any other areas in the state that you are considering that could warrant its own book, like Haunted Treasure Valley or Haunted North Idaho or something?
Oh yeah, there's tons of places all over. In fact, in my Haunted Idaho book, it's a small book, but it's divided into 6 different regions of the state. And so we talk about ghost stories from across Idaho. So that's kind of fun. It gives you kind of a sampling.
Yeah. So
Tell us some stories.
Yeah, I want to hear some good stuff.
Some good stuff.
Really good, scary. It'll scare the shoes right off of you, or socks, or whatever you got.
Well, when I was writing the books, there's definitely were some that I unnerved me.
Did they?
Yeah, I remember talking with this one gentleman. He's from the Nampa area, actually, and he talked about an experience that he had. He was actually possessed at one time. He was ghost hunting. It's something I don't actually do, so
Really?
that kind of scares
You drew
me.
the line there?
You just write about it. You
I
don't
just
do
write
it.
about it. Yeah.
Okay.
What a journalist, right? Hey, so anyway, this guy, he was out ghost hunting, and I'm sorry, I just drew a blank on the bridge that he was at.
That's okay.
So
it happens.
anyway, he was at a bridge doing some ghost hunting there. Apparently, this bridge was one where there's a lot of accidents that happen. So a lot of
Was
death.
it River Road Bridge?
Yes, that sounds familiar.
It's
that
in
might,
your book.
that might
Okay,
be it,
yeah. Okay.
See, it helps open the book.
Yeah. Anyway, so
So anyway, he was out ghost hunting one night, and he just he started acting really strange. His friends there with him, he basically he started climbing up the bridge. He wanted to jump off, and they were saying that's not like him. He was fine before that. He just started acting really weird, really funny. They had to like pull him off the bridge.
oh my goodness.
Now this is a gentleman who's had tons of ghost experience throughout his life. He said it's kind of followed him. His apartment was haunted with really weird things. He would be asleep at night, and he'd wake up to the TV and the lights being on, and he'd go turn them off, and they'd come on again.
Wow.
I'm losing my voice here. I've got a little tickle in my throat.
You don't think they're
So,
possessing you too, do you?
they might be. You know, I
Wow.
think last time you said the studio was haunted here. So
Some days I think it's really haunted. But anyway, so what happened?
So, he said that the more he ghost hunted, the more these experiences followed him. And so he kind of pulled back from that, and things kind of lessened up. But, he was starting to get back involved with it again. And I'm like, why?
So when he tried to jump off the bridge, did he have to be exorcised or something? Or was there someone who had jumped off? I'm sure there's probably plenty of people jumped off that bridge. Was
Yeah,
it someone
yeah,
that
exactly.
did they find out who maybe that person was that inhabited him?
And I'm sorry, at the same time, he said he claimed to see a dark shadow figure at the same time before this incident. So, and again, I wasn't there. This is a story told to me. So,
Well, you don't believe that? I believe that.
no, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing about these stories, that people will swear on a stack of Bibles that these things really happened to them.
Yeah,
And, who am I to disbelieve them?
Well,
What
plus
about-
he had witnesses too, his friends.
Yeah, definitely.
What about the Magic Valley? What kind of scary stories you got about here?
Oh, the Magic Valley, yeah. My favorite is Stricker Ranch.
Yeah.
Have you been to Stricker?
No, but we've had several people on here who've talked about. Well, I have
I've been there in the
to Stricker,
day, not at
Yeah,
night.
Not
Right.
at night.
No, because of the stories.
Well, that's right. Well, being a historical property, they're closed at night anyway. But
They open
Yeah.
sometimes for this time. I don't know if they're having anything at the
they
Halloween
had
or
it
something.
last weekend, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In fact, I'm very good friends with Gary Guy. He's the caretaker out there. He's a wonderful man.
He's seen a lot. He was the one who's seen
Yeah.
a lot of things. What has he seen? In case
Yeah.
people haven't heard.
Yeah. So he's got, like you said, tons of experiences. But the one I like to share is one night he was in bed, asleep. The lights were off, and he feels this tap on his shoulder. And he wakes up. He's wondering what's going on, and he's lying awake in bed, and the lights pop on.
Okay.
And so he's like, what's going on here?
And he was alone, correct?
was
alone,
it the
yes.
Stricker Ranch, or was this in
Yes,
his house?
yes, this is at Stricker Ranch.
Okay.
He
So he
lives
has
in
a
a-
caretaker house there or something?
Yes, yeah,
Oh, okay.
exactly. So
All
it's
right.
just right attached to the house. So he wakes up and he starts hearing voices, and he's like, So he checks things out. He finds out the voices are coming from outside. Well, apparently there's a group of 8 people out there, 7 or 8 people, been drinking beer, kind of getting rowdy. So he goes out and tells them, this is a historic place. You shouldn't be here after dark. You need to leave. And they kind of gave him some flack, some issues, but they eventually left. And he goes back in the house and starts wondering what happened here. So he thinks that this was probably Lucy Stricker waking him at night to protect the property.
Oh, to tell him
yes.
to. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Hey, go out and get those people.
That's right.
Tell them to
You're not
leave.
supposed to be here on my land.
Yeah.
Apparently, Lucy was quite possessive of her property during the time.
And how old was she? She died young, didn't she?
Yeah, I can't remember the age. She was old. She was older.
Oh, she was older.
Yeah.
Who's the little child he sees out there then?
Yes. So after I wrote the book, he claimed to have seen a little girl named Dolly.
Okay.
That he calls her Dolly, and about 8, 9 years old, he appeared to him just outside on the sidewalk, and she vanished. He kind of went looking for her. He turned around, went back inside for a second. She was nowhere to be found on the property. No bicycle, no nothing, no parents around, nothing. Just vanished, and she was in a white dress, I believe.
So when he sees them, do they look solid? Would he say it looks like a person, or he knew it was a ghost?
No, he thought it was a real person.
So they can appear more solid, like where it would look?
Yes. In fact, some of the people I've talked with who've had experiences with seeing apparitions, that's how they describe them. Solid, but not for very long. They
Right.
kind of dissolve or, gone.
Did they see them dissolve in front of their eyes, or they just turn their head and then look back and they're not there?
One gentleman claimed to have seen the image dissolve.
Wow.
So anything in the downtown area?
Yes, several. When I first started the books, I went downtown and talked to several business owners. And yes, Twin Falls is haunted.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
We got a caller.
We'll get a couple of those stories. We'll take a caller first. Top story. You're on the air with Andrew Weeks.
Yeah, good morning, Kelly and Jill. Doug McFall here. Kelly,
Doug.
how you doing?
Hey,
Good.
Doug McFall, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Hey, it just got me thinking. Kelly probably remembers a few years ago we sat around we had a ham radio field day and sat around the campfire telling stories. And I don't know if I'd mentioned this one, but it was quite interesting. Back in the 90s, I was with the state police based out of the Twin Falls district, and we had dispatch right in the office there. We don't have it anymore. They consolidated it. But at the time, the dispatcher was telling me after the troopers had went home at 2 or 3 in the morning, and they were all by themselves in the building, and we shared it with the Idaho Transportation Department, that some weird things had taken place downstairs in that building. And I always blew it off until when I was a sergeant there, I was about 2 o'clock in the morning, I was in my office upstairs, and at that time they had moved dispatch down to Pocatello, so we didn't have anybody, but I was the only one in that building, and I heard footsteps and some doors slam downstairs, and there was a snowstorm, and I figured it was ITD snowplow drivers getting ready to head out, and didn't think much of it. And then I looked out and noticed the gates were locked and all the plows were there, and I kind of walked around the building and out in the bay area where the snowplows were kept, and there wasn't anybody around, and this tough trooper decided to gather his stuff up and get out in the car and get out of that place and worry about his reports later. But pretty strange stuff taking place at that old building.
Were you the one who told me the story about an accident north of Gooding?
I did, but I think that's too long to try to. And really, the Gooding officers ought to be the one, since they were first in on that. But that's a pretty spooky story.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Doug. We appreciate that.
Thank you, and be safe out there, Doug.
Yeah, no kidding. Had you heard about one of the state police building here?
I did not hear that. I wish I did.
This is for your second book.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. The sequel.
There you go. But it would be so neat to just sit down and talk with law enforcement officers. They have a lot of experiences, because they're out after dark. They're in a lot
They're
of
in places people don't want to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are there haunted buildings in downtown Twin Falls?
Yes, there's a lot of stories associated with the ballroom.
What about the ballroom? What's happened at the
ballroom? What
ballroom?
about the ballroom? Well, okay, now these are some of the stories. Actually, things have floated. Things have been thrown across the room.
Really?
That's the stories I've heard. I've never
Wasn't
seen that.
after just a night of drinking.
It wasn't at Death by Chocolate when we had it there, was it?
have
Although
been
a lot
one
of things were flowing that night.
Either that or maybe a prom,
Yeah.
something like that.
So people will just see things be tossing or noise
Yeah,
or...
when I first started the book, that's what I heard. Yeah. So I talked to the owner. She herself did not have any experiences to that extent, but she said she's also heard of those experiences before she came on board, things like that. I'm trying to think of some other ones. There's several businesses downtown that before their current businesses, they were something else. And so there's a lot of history to these buildings, and people have just claimed that, and a lot of it, they've claimed that things have been thrown across the room, floated, things like that.
And there's a lot of tunnels under.
There is a lot of
downtown.
tunnels.
Is it coming from that? People that have died building the tunnels, do you think?
Maybe there's still people under the tunnels,
Are there tunnel people? Did you ever go down, Andrew?
I've always wanted to. I never did.
Really?
Somebody's
Were you
got to
scared?
take me down there.
Were you scared?
I don't know if I will be. I think it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. What's in the tunnels? It's like Jimmy Hoffa's,
What did they use the tunnels for?
I believe it's for irrigation purposes.
Oh, okay.
Something
Well, I know
like
there's
that.
a tunnel right out here behind the station that only I think that's something to do with water. So you might be right.
I heard there were tunnels under City Park, too. There's something with the tunnels that I don't know why.
A good person to talk with about the tunnels is Josh Palmer from the city. He's done some good writing on that.
Oh, really?
So yeah, he's done a lot of research on that at one
Back
time.
in the day.
Back in the day.
So anything else you want to leave us with? We have a
one
couple
last
minutes.
big story that'll leave everybody shivering in their boots.
So when they walk past it, they can freak out tonight.
Oh, let me see. I would encourage people to visit some of these places in the book. Stricker Ranch is a great one. I'm going to leave another one there. Upstairs in Stricker Ranch. I don't know if you visited, maybe you've been upstairs. Gary claims that there's been several times people have visited upstairs and they've come barreling down the stairs because they're too afraid. One gentleman said, "I'm not going up there again." Another young girl, teenager, she came down with tears in her eyes and she just ran out the door.
And they don't say what they saw?
They don't. The gentleman said he saw something, but I'm not going up there again. He just kind of took off. The woman.
And sometimes you don't have to feel. You don't have to see it. It's
No,
what
you can
feel.
feel it. Yeah, the temperature changes, right?
Sure, there's a lot of things out there. So the Magic Valley is haunted, apparently.
Wow.
Andrew, where can they get your books?
Books are available online, Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, also in Barnes & Noble here in town.
And it's Haunted Utah, Haunted Oregon, and
Haunted
Ghost of
Idaho.
Idaho's Magic Valley.
Yep.
Andrew
All right.
Weeks.
Thank you very much.
Great job.
Been
Thank
fun.
you.
Thank you.
All right, and coming up this next hour, we'll talk to Steve Hartgen, running for re-election for Idaho House of Representative, District 24B, right here on Top Story. Welcome back to Top Story, 7360300, always the number to call, and welcome back, Jill.
Thanks, Cal. Same to you.
We got 51 right now.
Wow.
Supposed to be nice later today for a trick-or-treat on Bishop Street.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too, because we've had some miserable times out there over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Wind blowing, 35 degrees, a little bit of snow, that type of a deal.
Yeah,
it's not going to be that way today. Might be that way Sunday, though.
Mm-hmm.
But at any rate, we have with us this morning Republican Steve Hartgen. He's the state representative from District 24B. Steve is running for re-election. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Kelly.
morning.
Good morning, Joe.
Nice to have you here.
Thanks for inviting me.
How long have you been a state representative?
This is my fourth term coming up. Was first elected in 2008.
All right. There are a lot of things. This has been a very interesting campaign, I think. A lot of things to talk about, but one of the things that we hear about a lot is education. So as you travel around your district of 24B, what are your constituents concerned about?
Well, my constituents are concerned about education, but they recognize that the state really has done a pretty good job of funding education despite this recession that we've come out of. We're up 11% over 2010. We've got not quite back to where we were in 2007, but we did lose quite a bit during the recession in those 2007 to 2009 period. But we're making good progress. We're almost back to where we were. And this notion that we've unfunded education or axed education, simply not true. The record shows that we're up almost 50% in education funding in 10 years in Idaho, both for higher ed as well as for public schools. Those are the real numbers. So this claim that somehow Idaho has shorted education is not factual at all.
But you said we were back to, 2007 levels? Is that what you said?
No, I said we were almost back to the recession level, which was the last peak year was 2008. And we're about $40 million short of that this year. And I expect that with revenue growth occurring as it is, which is running at about 5% per year, we'll be back to that level this year.
But I think people are concerned because now I believe we have like more than 20,000 students than we did back at those levels. And we are rated, I think, 50th, I believe, in money spent on students in Idaho. How we see the problems with our education system. How do you think we should help this? Because the structure changed in, was it 2006 where it went from property taxes to sales tax? I think that's the people that are really concerned about.
Well, the property tax issue, and that goes back now to 2006, that was put on the ballot in that fall. I wasn't in the legislature at the time, but it passed. Every single precinct in the state of Idaho, all 944 precincts, voted in favor of reducing property taxes. So this notion that somehow this was a sleight of hand or the wool got pulled over people's eyes, again, is not true. Every single precinct, including the most liberal precincts in the state, voted in favor of reducing property taxes at the time. The sales tax went up a penny to 6 cents. That's where it is today as a result. And there's no sense, I think, that we would change that going up. We'd try to reduce it at some point if we could. But the fact of the matter is that we have a balanced budget requirement. We have to balance the budget at the end of each year. We can't spend more than we take in. Some people want us to increase taxes to do that. And the legislature, I think, has wisely decided not to go down that road.
But when you say, because what they've said is the taxpayers have paid, I think it's $1 billion in supplemental levies or bonds as a result of this change. And people, in essence, do believe it's been a tax hike. And maybe the structure wasn't the best one that they voted for, thinking it would be. Would you be in favor of going back to the original format?
No, I wouldn't. I think that property taxes are at this point too high anyway. So if we went back to the original format, you'd be raising property taxes an estimated 20 to 25%. So people who are paying a property tax annually of $500 or $750 or $1,000 a year can look at adding another $250 to that. I don't think that's the way to go at all. With respect to the decision at the time, it was approved by the governor and also by the legislature, but it was particularly approved by the voters. The voters of this state, and it was over 70% margin, 72% statewide, voted in favor of reducing their property taxes. So people don't come up to me and say, Steve, I want you to go to Boise and raise my property tax. Nobody says that to me.
No, but okay, go on.
Well, I was going to move on to another issue here. We're fighting the gay marriage issue. Do you think we're pushing this too hard now? Have we lost the game, or is it prudent for us to continue to push on fighting the gay marriage issue?
Well, I think the governor is correct when he says that he has a constitutional duty under the Idaho Constitution to play the hand out in court. It would appear that, we're close to the end of that. The federal courts have ruled that gay marriage is something that's allowed under the U.S. Constitution. I think a lot of people feel that that's not appropriate. There's no mention of marriage in the Constitution at all. In the Idaho Constitution, we specifically say that a marriage is between a man and a woman. And again, that passed back in, I think, 2002 by a wide margin, over 60%. So I think the issue is one that people feel strongly about personally. But I think that the courts have ruled that this is something they've, quote, discovered in the U.S. Constitution, like a right to abortion and other things. And people feel that that's a question that probably is coming to an end.
We have a caller. Top story, you're on the air with Steve Hartgen. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I've got a question. I keep hearing about education and what's being done. I'm on the local school levy board, and you have just talked about, we don't want to raise taxes. Where do you think the money comes every time the school levy comes up for a vote? We're meeting as we speak. We've had 2 meetings. We're going to have more, and it's going to be another $9 million. People say, well, it's not a tax increase. Oh, yeah, it is. What is the real answer? I've heard your opponent's answer. I would like your answer for what are you going to do to fix the mess in the schools? Thank you.
I'm not quite sure what the person's question was, but local bonding is decided at the local level. We have 115 school districts in the state. Many of them do have local levies, supplemental levies, and and capital levies of one kind or another. And that's a local decision that people make. The school districts present those proposals to local patrons. Sometimes they're voted down, but actually not very often. And then typically what happens is that they do pass. Twin Falls has had a supplemental levy in place for a number of years. It's never been particularly controversial, and they explain well how it's going to be used. And that's money that local patrons decide that they want to levy on themselves to help fund local schools beyond the statewide formula. If you look at the formula, it doesn't say that every school district in the state has to have equal funding. School districts do vary under the formula. Some have more, some have less. And then there's provisions in the law that allows local school districts to add to the state supplement by adding local funding of their own. And so that's a decision that local school districts make. There's no requirement that every school district spend or exceed the exact amount of the funding that's provided by the state. That's a local decision. And it works pretty well. School districts can look at it. Sometimes you get a case where a district will turn one down. But usually in those circumstances, they're passed within the next a few months usually by lowering it a little bit or by redefining the projects and so forth. So that to me is a local control issue that I think legislators appreciate. My constituents tell me that they like that aspect of Idaho law.
I was going to ask you about revenue that the state is leaving on the table. This came up a few years ago, and I personally don't understand why it's not passing. Internet sales tax. We believe that we've heard different numbers, $35 to $60 million are left on the table. Why is that something that you would pursue in this legislative session? And if so, great. If not, why?
Well, we did pursue it last time. We put in place a necessary structure to collect sales tax on Internet sales. The problem is that it's a federal issue because most Internet sales are, in fact, across state lines, so it's decided by federal law. Unless Congress acts, Idaho cannot collect so much as a nickel from an unwilling seller like Amazon or Overstock in another state. We don't have a nexus in this state that is defined as a retail outlet or a warehouse or something like that. If we had that, we could collect, but we don't. So the basic problem is at the federal level. Unless Congress gives states the permission to collect the tax, it can't be collected. And I have an Attorney General's opinion that says that very, very clearly. You cannot collect from an unwilling seller if they don't want to permit the money to Idaho. They don't have to, and they don't.
So how did the 21 other states collect it? Because there is a consortium of states that do collect sales tax. For how do they do it? Is it something that Idaho could do?
Well, it's all of those states have nexuses in their state. They either have a warehouse, or they have retail outlets like Overstock, or they agree to remit the tax voluntarily, as Amazon has done, for example, in North Carolina and in California. Idaho doesn't have any of those things. We don't have an Amazon store. We don't have an Overstock store. We don't have an outlet of any kind. We also don't have a warehouse, so we don't fall under the definition of nexus that's required in order to collect the money. Now, if we were larger with more population and bigger area, we might get that at some point. But in today's economics, we don't have that. So we cannot collect from a state or from a business in another state that doesn't want to remit it. And if they want to advertise that they are X percent less, they can do that. I think it's a fairness issue. I'd like us to see us be able to collect the money. But I don't think that we can legally do it. And I've asked the Attorney General for opinions on this over the last couple of years. And that's the Attorney General's opinion, is that Idaho cannot collect money from an unwilling seller. And that's basically the end of it, unless Congress gives the states uniform permission across the entire country under the Interstate Commerce Act and clause of the Constitution. Idaho simply can't collect the money from someone who's not willing to submit it.
We're just about out of time. A few seconds to tell people why they should vote for you again.
I'm the fiscal conservative in this election, and I appreciate your vote on November 4th. I represent sound, limited government, lower taxes, and fiscal responsibility, and appreciate your vote next week. Thank you.
All right, and we're coming up with now. See, we still got early voting going on until 5 o'clock today, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So everyone get out and vote.
At County West, and I know other counties have their places too. So
otherwise, you have to wait till Tuesday. The polling booth.
That's right. All right.
Anyway, well, thank you, Steve, for coming on.
Republican
Thanks.
Steve Hartgen running for a state representative, District 24B. We appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you both very much.
All right, coming up more on Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX. I think we're going to talk about the 10 most popular chocolates
Oh, no.
for Halloween.
Whoa.
736-0300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I want to say that yesterday's $100 instant winning name in the Word of the Day, which is brought to you by the Happy Landing Restaurant. And I was out there yesterday and had a very lovely meal.
Has anyone gotten a free piece of pie?
Yeah, they have.
Oh, good.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome.
Here's the deal with the Happy Landing. If you are a first-time visitor there, and this is at the airport, Happy Landing Restaurant at the Twin Falls Airport, you mentioned you heard about it from Kelly or Jill, or heard about it on News Radio 1310 KLIX, and buy a drink of some sort, they will give you a piece of homemade pie on your first visit.
I can't believe you didn't think of that marketing plan, because that sounds right up. Hey, but we want to give a shout out to Shakeout.
Yeah, well, I want to do the word of the day first.
Oh, I'm
if
sorry.
If that's
I forgot.
okay.
I thought you did it. What was the word of the day?
The word of the day. Today's winner.
Sorry, I blew.
You did.
We got
yesterday's
distracted.
$100 instant winning name. I have to do this in the routine,
All
or I
right.
get all messed up.
All right.
Is Daniel Butler.
Daniel Butler, congratulations.
And your $100 word of the day on this Halloween day is trick.
Trick.
So you go to our website, newsradio1310.com, click on word of the day, type in trick.
Trick.
And then you listen Monday. And if you hear your name Monday and you played the word today, you win $100. Just like that.
T-R-I-C-K.
T-R-I-C-K. Just like that.
Okay.
And go to the Happy Landing Restaurant. I do all the time.
I know. But actually, it was the first segment. Kelly was talking about his favorite little candy and ice cream. And you said you really like just like vanilla with a lot of chocolate sauce. So
the Shakeout was listening, apparently, and brought me a huge... Well, I don't know if I can get it.
Just hold it up.
I'll hold it up.
You got a lot of napkins.
Watching the video later. It's a very big chocolate milkshake.
Oh,
and it is delicious.
I'm sure. And then they were so sweet because they didn't want me to feel left out. They gave me a salad. Yeah. So that was so sweet. So they thought that Kelly, you do like ice cream with a lot of chocolate in it. And
I like chocolate syrup with a little ice cream on it.
So I think they probably fit the bill. So thank you, Shakeout, and that was nice of them to listen and run it over.
Absolutely. I was going to talk about the top 10 chocolates because this is Halloween and it's the biggest day for chocolate in the country. I didn't know that. But I wanted to mention another thing first, something that ran across. I ran across a story earlier this week about how police in New York City are becoming concerned of terrorists now using drones, being attacked using drones.
They're now concerned about it?
Well,
I mean,
we've been talking about this for quite some time about surveillance from drones. Everywhere you go, there's a camera. Oh, look, there's a drone. Everybody's getting drones now. You can't even be in the privacy of your own backyard. Somebody flies a drone over, and there you are. Yeah. I think very few people thought, gee, what if the terrorists should take these things up and use them to attack us? I mean, you can take a relatively small bomb, put it on the drone, ram it into a building, and have a huge explosion, or have it at a fuel processing facility or something, and take in.
Well, there's a lot of things you can do, and a lot of things they're trying, and I guess it's always good to look at more possibilities, and the things change all the time. Unfortunately, I mean, before no one knew you would use airplanes for bombs, and now that's happened, and then things evolved. Then it was underpants they were trying to light on fire in
And
the plane,
shoes.
and shoes. And
Yeah,
now, of course,
so-
we have to travel without our underpants and shoes.
Now right.
They've won, people. They have won.
Well, and here's another. Spanish intelligence has intercepted messages passed between jihadists online discussing the weaponization of the Ebola virus for use against the West, while a blackmailer in Prague has threatened to unleash the virus unless the Czech Republic pay him 1 million Bitcoin. He doesn't want dollars, apparently. He wants Bitcoin, a volume of online currency worth over 200 million pounds.
And the Czech Republic has not paid it. Thank you. And they
Well,
said it would be a
where
little
would the
hard.
where would he get the virus?
Right,
first of all?
exactly. I know. It's like, go ahead, go to Sierra Leone,
Yeah.
go to Liberia, go
But-
to Guinea, go get the virus, put it in your hands.
But-
Guess what? They'll be dead in 14 days.
Scientists would be able to get it, like ISIS. ISIS has I'm pretty sure ISIS has the resources to get something like this, to use it against us.
Okay, well,
So
and there was the AIDS virus, and there's the HIV virus too, that actually, you can't recover from. It'll stay in your body. Ebola people do recover from. I think the hysteria is out of control. You can throw Ebola on anything. And we just heard today that the poor refugees in our town, our people are afraid they have Ebola. It's like, people.
I'm just kind of using that as an example that the list is endless of things that our enemy can use against us now. And with technology, the delivery of some of this stuff is so easy that almost anybody can do it.
Well, you know
It's
what?
getting
And
scary.
we have some
It's
of
a
the best
jungle out
intelligence in the world, and hopefully they'll keep thwarting these things. And yes, things evolve.
Well, I just wanted to tell you that, so it's Halloween.
happy
We're all
Halloween,
supposed
people.
to be happy, I just didn't want you to be too happy because we have to consider these things. And we'll be right back on Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. The folks at Clearwater Power Equipment want you to know they have the Echo chainsaws and the Echo leaf blowers, and you'll be able to use both of those right about now, especially the leaf blowers. And it's going to get a lot colder. In fact, there's a chance of rain mixed with snow on Sunday. So that means...
Are you kidding me?
I wouldn't kid you, Jill. Everything out of my mouth is gospel. And so, there's going to be...
That is the best joke I've ever heard.
So the leaves that are on the trees are going to come clambering down, and you want a leaf blower, an Echo leaf blower, to take care of them. Don't worry about these old-fashioned rakes anymore.
No.
Nobody uses a rake
No,
anymore.
it's so passe.
That's right. And you can just use them for just a lot of stuff. I use them for cleaning out my shop. They've got them at Clearwater Power Equipment now in the Twin Falls area, expanded from the Wood River Valley area. They're at 252 Washington Street, 734-7767 is their number. You can also ask them about their storage plan if you want them to store your big lawnmower or something through the winter.
Okay,
Perfect.
so this is Open Mind Friday.
Yes. Go
Okay.
ahead. Open your mind, Jill.
I'm opening it up because I read this. The nurse, Casey, is it Hicks?
Hickox, I
Hickox.
think.
It's spelled weird. Anyway, she again defies a voluntary quarantine for medical workers who have treated Ebola patients. Maine health officials have asked a court to limit the movements. Meanwhile, this poor woman and her boyfriend are being haunted by the news media. It's just outrageous. This is the latest, in case you haven't heard what she's done. She did treat Ebola patients in Sierra Leone, and she says confinement violates her rights. She says that she has no symptoms, poses no risk to the public. The poor woman landed in, of all places, Newark, ended up being in a tent for 3 days with no shower and just a porta potty, but was able to get takeout from the finest restaurants in Newark. Is then in Maine, still no fever, no symptoms, but this is what the AP has updated. In between going on a bike ride and taking delivery of a pizza, nurse Casey Hickox and her boyfriend did chores, watched a movie while state officials struggled to reach a compromise in a standoff that has become the nation's most closely watched clash between personal freedom and fear of Ebola. Did I say taking a delivery of pizza too? Oh, the poor pizza delivery man. Oh my gosh.
They better quarantine him
My
now.
gosh. The nurse who treated Ebola patients in Sierra Leone and her boyfriend Ted Wilbur purposely rode their bikes away from town on a dirt path to avoid coming into contact with people. He told reporters, we're not trying to push any limits here. We're members of this community too, and we want to make people comfortable. It's like, leave these people alone. She has no fever. By the time they get this court order, the quarantine will be over, but they're being hounded. People are watching her every movement. This is becoming hysteria. Hysteria. She's asymptomatic. Why can't she live her life?
If they pursue this this thing with her, then they're going to have to go back to Dallas and quarantine a whole lot of people.
Right.
Because and we heard yesterday about the little girl who went to Nigeria to visit family, which was hundreds of miles away from the closest.
No, Nigeria is Ebola-free. It's had cases in the past. It's now Ebola-free. You're thinking of Rwanda.
They had 19 cases. Oh, maybe was it Rwanda?
But Nigeria as well. They won't let her back in school for 21 days, even though her dad and the little girl have no symptoms. They said, we'll take an Ebola test. They said, too bad, we have to leave you out because of fear. You know, to have a court order based on fear and not on science is outrageous. And for people not to be outraged, when you say the government has overstepped their bounds, they have overstepped their bounds. This poor woman and her boyfriend. I don't understand.
Well, and
I mean,
if
she
they're
doesn't
keeping that
have
little
a
girl
symptom.
out of school because she was hundreds of miles away from Ebola, what about the people in Dallas who are right there in their backyard? They're not quarantining them.
This is craziness that's going on.
This is kind of a double standard we got going here. Top story, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
My view is better be safe than sorry.
Really?
But I have no problem with her going on a bike ride with her boyfriend as long as she's not in contact with other people.
Well, you can blame that on the media. If the rest of the world
is the problem right now. I mean, if she's staying in her house and she's not, like the doctor, going bowling and being on the subway and all kinds of other stuff while he is feverish, and as a doctor should know better.
But I don't think anybody even got anything from that.
No, it's not when you have the
everybody
fever.
Everybody keeps saying that we need to do this on science. Isn't science saying that the incubation period is 21 days?
No, that's not true. Actually, we had someone on from Sierra Leone yesterday. The incubation period, she said, is 14 days. They're doing 21 days. She goes, by 21 days, you're dead.
Yeah.
The woman has no symptoms. This is not just to be safe. This is your personal freedom. I'm surprised you would be okay if they forced you in a quarantine for 21 days, no work, no contact. Give me a break, and you have no symptoms. No, this is fear, total fear.
We'll be right back here on Top Story. We got the 10 top chocolates in the country on this Halloween day, and you might be surprised what some of them are. And my favorite did not make it to number one. I'm a little bit crushed
here.
Poor
Kelly.
7360300, the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Welcome back. And the folks at Far More of Idaho want you to get a hold of them to ask them about the infrared Baron. Overflights of your fields in the summertime so that you can see how your irrigation system is working, and then they will upload these pictures that they take with infrared photography so you can actually see what's happening. And based on these pictures, you can make decisions on maybe some modifications to your irrigation system, maybe just some maintenance to your irrigation system. But whatever you do, it will increase your income. It doesn't cost, it pays.
It pays.
Infrared Baron from Far More of Idaho. Give them a call. Ask them about it at 324-3341. They're also online at farmoreofidaho.com.
Mm-hmm.
And since today is Halloween, we got the big trick-or-treat on Bishop Street coming up in the Fred Meyer parking lot this afternoon at 3:30. I thought it was time to give a little history on chocolat.
History on chocolate.
Chocolate is big business, and Halloween is its biggest holiday. See, I'm sorry. I thought I had heard the Valentine's Day
They
was.
sell a quarter of the amount of chocolate for this holiday in the entire U.S. all year.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
25% of chocolate is sold here.
According to a recent survey from the National Confectioners Association, 72% of all candy spending this Halloween will be on chocolat.
I believe it.
Last year, more than $12.6 billion
Crazy.
was spent on chocolate in the United States. 3.8% more than the year before. According to market research firm Information Resources, in the last 52 months ending September 8th, Americans spent $3.9 billion to buy 3.5 billion chocolate bars, bags, and boxes under 3.5 ounces. And standard size consumers pick up at a grocery store checkout. Reese's and M&M's each accounted for more than $500 million in sales. Now, I have a list here, the top 10 candies. And I'm a little upset because my Hershey bars did not make it number one.
You should go from 10 up to 1.
I think I'll do that.
I don't see... Oh, okay.
The number one might surprise you, too. It was not what I thought it would be.
No, me neither.
The number 10 selling chocolate bar is Almond Joy.
No, this isn't selling. This is the ones that people like the most, right, for Halloween?
Well, it's the ones
based
that
on
they
sales?
buy. Based
Okay.
on sales.
Okay, well, people might buy stupid things. Okay.
Almond Joy. Number 9 is the Milky Way.
Huh.
Yeah, and I like both Almond Joys and Milky Ways. In fact, there's nothing on this list that I don't like.
Right.
Okay. Number 8 is Hershey's Cookies and Cream. Have you ever had that?
No.
Yeah, it's quite
Have
rich,
you?
but it's very good.
What it has?
It's a
in
kind of
the
a vanilla.
chocolate?
It's a vanilla.
Like white chocolate?
It's a vanilla bar with bits of cookies and cream.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's 0 calorie too. I understand.
Oh, sure, like all of these
Yeah.
are.
Number 7 is the Three Musketeers.
Isn't that? Oh, I was thinking that is the Milky Way. I don't know what a Three Musketeers is anymore. Okay, sorry.
It's
go
a
on. Move
chocolate
on.
bar filled with chocolate.
Apparently.
Number 6 is the Twix 4 to go.
Okay.
I'm not sure what I think that might be a 4-pack.
Okay. Twix. Okay, fine.
Number 5 is the Kit Kat.
Huh. Okay.
Give me a break.
Dun,
Give
dun,
me a
dun,
break.
dun, dun.
Okay. Number 4 is my favorite, the Hershey's bar.
I cannot believe because it's your favorite, it's not number 1.
I know. You know, they obviously didn't ask me.
They don't
and
realize.
I'm a little upset about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Number 3 is the Snickers bar.
Snickers bars.
Yes, this is the most popular according to sales. Number 2 is M&M's.
Now here I was confused. Is it the chocolate M&Ms plain or is it the peanut M&Ms or are they combined? Because to me, when I used to eat candy, I would have gone for the peanut M&Ms, not the plain M&Ms.
That I cannot answer, Jill. I'm
so
sorry.
I didn't know if it was grouped together.
Well, what I did was I took the 1 through 10, and they had a lengthy explanation under each one. I deleted the explanation,
Did you? Okay,
and I just
fine.
went for the
Because you know I
for
always
the
ask
one. Yes.
the question.
And I never thought that Jill would ask.
Wouldn't someone want to know, is it regular or peanut?
That's a good question, and I
Which
don't
one do you
know.
like better, peanut or regular?
Yes.
Okay. And then the number 1.
The number 1 is Reese's.
Reese's Peanut, which makes sense because people's taste buds are salty and sweet. You know, you
Yeah.
like that combo.
Yeah. Years ago, when the movie E.T. came out, M&M's, the little kid Elliot was always eating Reese's Pieces. That was his favorite candy, and throughout the show, he ate a lot of them.
Yeah.
Well, before the filming, it was my understanding that M&M had a chance to get their product in for product placement, and for some reason they turned them down.
They are silly. They
didn't
are
want to do that.
foolish.
Yeah. So Reese's Pieces, which I think were relatively new at the time,
Right.
Got that placement, and their sales literally exploded, and it doesn't look like they've let up. They're still
And that's
number
how
1.
it works with product placement in movies. I have to tell you what my candy bar was that I used to love when I was little, which showed you how weird I was back then, too. Mounds. The dark chocolate and the coconut. For some reason, it wasn't too sweet for me. I don't like a lot of sweet. I really wouldn't have eaten any of those candies.
That's not a weird choice.
Maybe
I love
Reese's,
Mounds.
maybe, but no.
In fact, when I buy a candy bar, the 2 that I buy are the Hershey's bar and the Mounds bar.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Kelly
so
class.
those are my 2 favorites.
So
I
anyway,
guess.
people, do not give out candy corn. That's a yucky candy.
out Hershey's bars.
No one likes candy corn.
It's time now for the Huckabee Report, brought to you by Waddell and Reed. And you can hear the Huckabee Report each weekday at this time, brought to you exclusively by Waddell and Reed, Laura Nelson, Josh Funk, and Steve Stanger, financial advisors, and the number to call is 736-6563. And as I sit here still in mourning because my Hershey's bar didn't make it to the #1 spot. Yeah, I just want you to know the Trick or Treat on Bishop Street is going to be going on this afternoon in the Fred Meyer parking lot from 3:30 until 6.
That's right. Should be a lot of fun. It'll be a nice day. We'll be out there. I love watching the kids in their costumes.
And you and I will have a special costume.
Yes, we will, won't we,
Yes.
Kelly?
We're not going to give you
No.
any hints whatsoever.
I just hope you can fit into my jeans. You know, I don't know how this is going to work.
Yeah.
I'm going to need a really big belt. Oh,
Yeah,
did I give it away?
You gave it away,
Oh,
Jill.
darn
Doggone
it.
it. What's wrong
You
with
know
you?
what? I can't keep a secret.
No, it's going to be a lot of fun. And bring the chillins.
Yeah.
Dressed up in their Halloween costumes. People bring their dogs.
I
you know,
love
their
the
pets.
dogs.
Yeah.
I love the kids too, but you know how I am when I see a puppy. I'm like, okay, that better come over here.
My dear wife
Is bringing Mabel?
dressed up Mabel yesterday in a witch's hat and a little costume and green hair, and it was really fun.
Did Mabel like it? Because when we met
And-
Mabel last time, she had a little Halloween tutu
poor
on.
Mabel just sits there looking dejected.
I'm sure.
But she just sits there. She poses. It's the
She's
darndest
like, I
thing
can't
you ever
believe
saw.
I have to put up with this from these people.
You know?
Is she going to bring Mabel?
No, she's not. I think my wife's a little under the weather.
And I'm sorry to hear that, but also this is really key. Dogs, chocolate is poisonous to dogs,
Yes.
and raisins. Even if they throw the raisins up, the dog will die. Please do not keep your dogs
Right.
away from the chocolate. Keep them away from raisins.
And onions.
And onions and grapes. So please,
grapes.
please be careful. I know there's going to be a lot of chocolate. Do not let your dog near it. Make sure your animals are safe, as well as your children.
I know it takes an amount of chocolate, but it depends on the size of the dog too. But you just don't give
But
them
the
any
raisins,
details.
there is no amount. We've had a man call in. His dog ate the raisins. He threw up the raisins, and the dog died.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Please do not give him grapes or raisins.
It's kind of like me and almond butter.
Oh yeah, you're never gonna let that
No,
go, are you?
I'm not.
You're never gonna let
You
that go.
bring me Rice Krispie treats made with almond butter and almonds, knowing that I can't eat almonds. Well, eat around the almonds, but you never
I
mention the
warned
almond
you about
butter.
the almonds, and I totally forgot the almond butter. I'm so sorry, my dear friend. People ask me if I did that on purpose. Do you realize what I'm dealing with out in the public? Do you understand?
I'm lucky I survived.
I swear, if it was a peanut allergy and he died on air,
If I
I'd
hadn't had 12 EpiPens, I might have been in serious trouble. Anyway, we'll see you at Trick or Treat on Bishop Street this afternoon in the Fred Meyer parking lot starting at 3:30.
Oh, my gosh.
And then we'll see you Monday. Have a great week. Oh, don't forget, it's daylight savings time goes
Saturday
away.
night, 2 a.m.
So it's fall back, so we're going to lose.
One more hour,
gain
baby.
Another hour,
One more hour. My
So,
favorite day of the year.
See you Monday. Goodbye, Jill.
Bye, Cal. See you later.